Howdy, howdy, everybody watching this post. I hope you've had a good weekend. Apologies a bit later than usual. I was sorting the kids out and everything. What the things to say? Yeah, for anyone watching this post, if you're in need of any of my help whatsoever, check out the links down below in the description. They'll take you to my website where you can see the services I offer. If you're interested in the Subliminal app, down below is the promo code for it. If you're on Apple, you get 15% off. If you're on Android, you get a month's free trial. And in order to do it for Apple, you go on to the monthly session, click it, and then where it says your bank details, you change that to redeem code, and then you put in powerful month, all caps lock, and that'll get you that. All of my worksheets are now available as services on my website. So if you're interested in purchasing any of those are there. I've just added a new one about letting go of resentment, which I think is quite good. Um, Personalized tarot readings, Katie's Etsy is down below, and I think that's it. Oh, and there's obviously the merch line down below as well if you're interested. But other than that, I think that's all out the way. So I'm gonna start getting into some questions. Oh, and if you can like the video and comment as well, that would really help push it out to more people. So I'm gonna start off with H, who says, "Hey, howdy, howdy, H. Glad to have you here." Ronja, apologies if I said that wrong, says hello, howdy, 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 Ronja. Marianne says, hello, Matt, hope you're well. I'm very good, thank you. How are you today, Marianne? H says, I've never been so happy to see you. Oh, why is that? Is there a specific thing that you wanted to talk about today? But I appreciate that. That's very kind to hear. George Strong says, howdy, Matt. Freaking love the Halloween tattoo. Had no idea that you were a man of such good film taste. Oh, yeah. Thank you very much. This is, how long have I had this now? Probably about 4 years now. But yeah, I've had it gone over because my original tattooist was just like quite bland orange, and then I wanted some more like darker in it. So when I went to my second tattooist, I ended up getting it done again there by him. But no, I appreciate that. H says before your resentment. H says before your resentment worksheet is great. I'm glad to hear it. For any of you that are interested in it, it's now available as a service, and it tackles how to deal with resentment in 3 separate ways. One from a Buddhist standpoint, one from a Stoic standpoint. I suppose 4 different ways actually. One from a Buddhist standpoint, one from a Stoic standpoint, and is it 4 or is it 3? Buddhist, Stoic, and then Buddhist and Stoic together in a combined way. I can't remember exactly what it was. Like, there was so much on there though, so go check it out if you're interested. But I'm glad to hear that it's good. H. Jocelyn says hi, howdy, howdy, Jocelyn. Glad to see you here. NJ says hello, howdy, howdy. Juicy Jules says, hey Matt, recent content has been amazing. Well done. Thank you very much. For any of you that were the money one that I did didn't perform particularly well, which is fine because I know most people are here for a specific person. However, I tried a new intro style. So if you did watch the money one, could you potentially let me know what you thought of like the B-roll intro-y kind of thing, where it sort of tells a bit more of a story and then gets into like my intro? Because obviously when it comes to YouTube, some of the main things that matter are likes, comments, and video retention. And when it comes to video retention, especially the first 30 seconds makes a huge difference. So people like to do those kind of B-rolly kind of things to try and keep the engagement. So if you liked it and thought that it was a good addition, if you could let me know just so I know going forward, because unfortunately the video itself didn't do too well. So it's hard to get that gauge on whether or not the intro was the problem or whether it was just that the people weren't interested in the topic. So if you could let me know, that'd be really handy. Uh, skip down. Ronja says you pronounce it Ronya, but I get that a lot, so don't worry. Oh, apologies, Ronya. I will remember that going forward. Thank you for correcting me. Crimson Music says, hey, been a while since I made it to one of these. Hope you're doing great. It has been a while. Glad to have you here. Hope you're doing well as well, Crimson. H says, Matt, did you contact Akshay from Manifesting Monster? So Akshay, I believe I did. Yes, I will have to double check because I did a whole bunch of them, and some of them I either have contacted in the past and didn't get a response, and some of them that I haven't. Some of them that I contacted this time. I'll have to get back to you on that one and have a little look because I don't remember exactly who I did because there's quite a few people that I contacted, but I'm pretty sure I contacted most people. However, the only person that responded so far was obviously Joey, and none of the others have yet. And there's obviously been a couple of declines from Roxy Talks and Kim Velez. Those are the two that declined. Marianne said, what are your thoughts on Lovecasters? I don't actually know what a Lovecaster is, so if you could give me a bit of an explanation on that, I can give you my sort of brief idea on what that is. Dave Moody says, checking in, you are doing great, going to have to connect soon. Well, thank you very much for checking in, Dave. I'm really glad to see you here. And yeah, absolutely, drop me an email whenever you want to like give me some updates and gossip and stuff. That'd be really good to hear. I'm glad to hear that. Well, I'm glad to see you here, and I hope you're doing well. Jocelyn says, hi, I have a question. Is it okay to think about my job if I am manifesting self-employment? For example, thinking about my co-workers. Yeah, so this is kind of one of those things where you can't just outright deny any sort of thing involving your 3D reality. You can't live 100% of your time in the end result. Obviously, live as much as you can, but you can't be expected to live 100%. So thinking about your co-workers isn't necessarily a problem as long as you're still persisting in the idea that you are self-employed sort of as much as you can the rest of the time as well. But yeah, it's not going to like kill your manifestation unless that is like absolutely the only thing you think about. It's not going to get in the way too much. Jordan Strang says, I've been using the subliminal app for the past couple of days and I'm really seeing results already from it. That's really good to hear. I'm actually listening to a subliminal right now as I type. That's awesome. I'm really glad to hear. I've actually had quite a few people say that they've had some good movement with it so far. So that's awesome. I'm glad to hear that. Marianne says, also, the 3D has affected me a lot recently and I felt like I've been spiraling. I was wondering, how can you control yourself to stop spiraling? So everyone has kind of a different way to do it. For me personally, I like to just kind of deal with it in my head. I'll kind of accept the feelings that are coming up, or I'll accept that, like, the 3D, like I posted on Instagram. If you haven't followed my Instagram yet, I definitely recommend you do. It's Mind Over This Matrix, all one word. But I posted a post on there, not yesterday, either yesterday or the day before, that I think is really good for it. And it was, accept your reality, but do not accept your fate. So whenever it comes to things like this, I'll accept whatever's happening in the 3D. Obviously, sometimes I might react. Everyone does it on time to time. But I'll accept whatever's happening in the 3D, but I won't accept that this is going to be the way it is forever. And I will then go on to whatever it is that I want instead. So, for your instance, if you're having a lot of spiraling, what I would do if it was me is I would accept the thing that I'm spiraling about to sort of somewhat exist, but then remind myself that it isn't concrete. And then that's when I'll then redirect my focus back to the end result, regardless of what it is. And then I'll try to just catch myself every time I'm sort of spiraling a bit or feeling not so great and just redirect that focus back to where I want to be. That's one way that I personally deal with it. Another way is you could sort of practice breath work and meditation. So if you feel like you're spiraling quite a lot, just try and put on some meditation music, get comfortable, focus on your breathing. Because spiraling, a lot of the time, we overthink things. So the thing that has actually happened in front of us isn't often as bad as it maybe seems. And a lot of the time when we are spiraling, it's because we're continuing with this story in our head and just going further and further and further and further. So if you kind of stop yourself as best you can, maybe do a little bit of meditation and practicing or focusing on your breath, you're kind of bringing yourself to the present moment and only focusing on what does exist right this second, or at least something else to anchor your attention. And that can be quite good until you feel calmer and better, and then you can redirect your focus. Some people like to quite physically get it out. So if they've got anger, they'll like punch a pillow. If they've got like frustration, they'll go for a run or something. So they like to release those physical energies as best they can through some sort of activity. So there's a couple of ways that might work for you. Ronya says, I do have a question too. Currently manifesting commitment with SP and had a lot of movement with new story. That's good to hear. Now I had something not great happen in a 3D, which is like old story him, and I'm in panic mode right now. So unsure how to deal with it and how to handle it. So I don't know how much of my content you would have sort of watched, but I have referenced in the past that sometimes things will continue to play out that were like old seeds. Think of every impression as like a seed, and one impression might have the time span of a tomato plant, the other one might have an apple tree thing. So one will grow quicker than the other. So this is why you may be getting loads of good movement, and then all of a sudden something negative may happen. It's just an old seed that hasn't played out yet, which is now playing out. That's quite common for a lot of people. I definitely wouldn't let it get to you if you can avoid doing so. What you do going forward though is you had lots of positive movement. You know that you can create that. Otherwise, you wouldn't have said that you got positive movement if you didn't think that you did. If you didn't think that you created that movement, you wouldn't then assume it to be positive movement. You would just assume that this is something that's happened. So you create your reality, and you know that your awareness is power. So if you know that you've had good movement, focus on all the good that you have. If you've realized that something negative may have happened, remember, it is old story him. Even as you stated in your comment, it's the old story version of him. So know that that is not going to be your end result. That is not going to be the thing that you have to deal with going like forward from here on, as long as you're focusing on the good. So whenever you have thoughts about the negative, or whenever the negative comes up, simply like accept it to exist and then focus on the end result. Just be like, yeah, you acted a bit funny today, but we're in this loving, passionate, committed relationship and we're perfectly fine, or something like that. You just want to redirect focus back to your end result. H says, I've done a couple of your worksheets, couple of others. Oh, damn it, it skipped. 1 second. Let me just find where I was. H says, I've done a couple of your worksheets, couple of others, SWE work too. I feel good, but a part of me takes me back to, hey, your desire is not here. So that'll be where you have to redirect that focus. Obviously, like I said earlier, everyone's human, so you will react in times. You will have times when your mind is maybe not cooperating as much as you would like, but that's when you got to kind of go back to that end result. Your reality is here. You can go like forward with your life and relaxing, knowing that it's done and it will come into fruition. There is obviously an element of discipline when it comes to manifestation. If you want to have the desire, if you want your end result to come into fruition, you have to make sure that you are staying disciplined with focusing on that being in fruition right now and try not to let yourself dwell on something of the opposing or to dwell on the fact that it isn't here yet. NJ says, is it okay to be specific about a person that you want in your life, or should I be general? Do we need to think about him all day? Uh wouldn't be needy energy. So it's okay to go for someone specific, absolutely. You can go general or specific, it's entirely up to you. If you just want a new person, go general. If you want someone specific, then obviously go for someone specific. So you don't have to think about them all day. And I think this is where a bit of a misconception is. So it's not that you have to think about them all day, but when you do think about them, you need to ensure that you are directing your thoughts back to your end result. And it's always beneficial to be proactive with your affirmations, your visualizations, your scripts and stuff. So this is why, for example, Sammy Ingram, because I know she's one of the people that everyone absolutely adores. She recommends that you do sort of 3 sections of 10 minutes of affirming for your specific desire every single day. So about 30 minutes of the day. And then the rest of the time when you're going about your day, you just, whenever the thoughts of this desire come up, redirect them to be whatever it is that you want it to be, and then go forward like that. If you're thinking about them all day, then yes, that could be quite potentially needy energy. If you're thinking about them all day from the end perspective, it's not necessarily going to cause a problem because you're still thinking from the end result. But if you are thinking about them all day from a natural basis, it might be worth considering why you are thinking about someone so consistently and constantly. Because even my biggest desires, I don't think about all day, every day. I still like kind of focus on other things. So if you are genuinely in that space where it's just the only thing that's on your mind, there will be some level of attachment. There may be some level of obsession, and it might be worth reviewing that and taking that step back. But in short, you can be either specific or general, depending on what you want. And you don't need to think about them all day, but it is definitely worth trying to redirect thoughts when they come up back to your end result, and maybe taking some time in the morning and night at least to just get comfortable, affirm, visualize, script, or something that and some sort of technique that implies that they're with you right now. H says, I don't do inner work to get something, it's for me, but still spiral happens. Yeah, I mean it's a marathon. Manifestation is definitely a marathon. You can get successes really quickly, but if you want those long-term, consistent, effortless results, it does take that persistence in changing your assumptions and doing the inner work and making sure that you're dwelling in the end result and things like that and working on yourself. And spirals will happen. Like I said, everyone's human. People react. I react. Sammy Ingram probably reacts. That everyone reacts. So it's just about noticing when you're spiraling or when you're thinking the wrong things as quickly as you can and redirecting your focus back to your end result again. Or if it's you're working on yourself, redirecting your focus back to you being the person you claim yourself to be. Thank you. I'm just going to put it on the floor. Okay. Jocelyn says, what is your opinion on manifesting a new job and manifesting self-employment? I feel like I can't choose what I truly want, so I've been affirming for both. Is that a good idea in your opinion? So when it comes to choosing what it is that you really want, uh, you can obviously kind of think about it logically if you want to, sort of doing like a list method of pros and cons and kind of seeing what would be better for you and going from that perspective. However, when it comes to this kind of thing, what I would recommend is getting clear on your end result. So let's say, for example, the only thing that you absolutely want in both of them, and if you were to have this, you wouldn't care which one it was, let's say, earning 40 grand a year, just as an example. You know that 40 grand a year is like the basis that you absolutely must have. If you're self-employed on 40 grand, cool. If you're working for someone else on 40 grand, cool. You don't really care. Now that you know that that's your basis, you can go from it from that perspective. So I'm so grateful to be doing a career path, earning £40,000 a year in a way that benefits me the most. And then whatever will need to happen to get you earning that in a way that benefits you the most will make it happen. Because obviously you're considering this from a logical mindset, which makes sense. If you logically want to do a certain thing, then go for it. But sometimes, especially in an instance where you really can't decide, if the list method isn't something that you particularly fancy doing, you can leave it up to the universe to do it for you. I know that I want these specific things. So 40 grand and working from home. So why don't I go with I am earning 40 grand a year doing a career that allows me to work from home in a way that benefits me in the most amazing way. And this obviously implies you're earning that money, you're working from home, and it's in a way that benefits you. So you don't have to decide whether it's self employed or in a job. It just comes to you in the way that benefits you the most. And that might take out some of that concern for the middle, as in whether it's self employed or working for someone else. However, you can affirm for both if you want to, but I feel like it might be worth getting clear first or leaving up to the universe first, because you're going to be constantly chopping and changing what you're doing. And you might end up getting to a point where neither of them are particularly happening because you're not focusing on either of them dominantly enough. So that would obviously depend on your process. Jocelyn says, thank you for answering my questions. You're very welcome. Oh, it skipped again. Marianne said, that is what I say to myself. I say nothing lasts forever. I won't feel like this forever. And then I feel a little bit better. So that's a good way to go about it. Just kind of consoling yourself, accepting the 3D and not accepting its fate. And just kind of remembering that things are malleable, everything can change, and no situation is forever, and kind of just keep going with that. Nathan Allen says, hi, Matthew, long time no see. I haven't been in one of your lives in a while. Hope you're doing well. It has been a long time no see. I'm glad to see you here, Nathan. And I'm doing well. Thank you. Hopefully you are too. And then Nathan also says, wanted to say thank you for your coaching and videos. I'm happy to say I'm in a new relation with a new SP, and they are everything I've wanted and more, treating me like the prince/prize I am. That is awesome to hear. I'm really happy to hear that. Yeah, congratulations for that. It's really great to hear. Maybe you can put it in the chat how you made it work or how you did it so that other people might get inspired about your story. But that's really good to hear. And thank you very much for showing up to share that with me. I got a cat just here. Alyssa says, hey, Matt, how did you meet your SP online? I know everyone likes to avoid saying that, but whatever. You know, it's online. It's the truth, isn't it? But I find that the sort of whole COVID period made it a little bit difficult to meet people in person particularly easy. So I feel like most people met their specific people within that period online. So yeah, that's my story. H says, I am limited to 4-5 pages now. Mystic, Akshay, you, and Joey. I won't be saying bad. I am critical of couple. Hang on, sorry. So H has said that I am limited to 4 or 5 pages now. So LOA coaches, Mystic, not sure who that is. Akshay, which I think is Manifesting Monster, I think you mentioned earlier. Me and Joey Gallant, which is I'm God LOA, the person I do collaborations with. And then H also says, I won't be saying bad. I am critical of a couple of famous manifesting personalities on YouTube. Yeah, I feel like a couple of people have a very similar opinion. They like the content, but they're not so big on the YouTuber themselves. So I've heard stuff similar to that, but I'm glad that I'm one of those 5, to be honest. Don't drink that drink, Ray Ray. That's not for you. This is for me. Go in. Marnie Phoenix says, hey, everyone. Howdy, howdy, Marnie. Glad to see you here. Ronya says, I've been watching you for a while, but I'm quite quiet. Haha. To be honest, it already got to me. I keep thinking what I did wrong in my journey for that to play out. It's very, very hurtful and hard to take focus off. Yeah, I 100% understand where you're coming from. And obviously, I'm glad that you've been watching me for quite a while. Thank you for supporting the channel. But I get where you're coming from. The only thing that you have to try to remember as best you can is it may hurt, but you're by redirecting focus, by kind of like putting your focus somewhere else as best you can, you are creating something different. So it will hurt for now, but if you put the work in to sort of shift that focus, it won't hurt forever. However, if you keep allowing these negatives to get to you, you will be hurting for as long as you do so. But yeah, just try some of the other things that I've mentioned in the stream about like breath work to kind of help you get through those thoughts and through the reactions of the circumstances. The letting it out physically, or even the feeling the feelings and then focusing on something different. Just sort of give it a go. Nathan Allen says, hi, Marnie, how are you? I'm assuming Marnie will respond in a bit. Tattletale says, what exactly is movement? I see a lot of people either saying there is no movement in the 3D or that there is always movement behind the scenes. Could you give me some examples? Thank you. Okay, so movement is essentially just the pieces being put together to get you to your end result. So when people say that there's no movement, often they're complaining about the fact that they are not seeing anything that would, from a logical standpoint, because obviously we're thinking logically, however, not everything works logically, from a logical standpoint would imply that nothing is happening to show that they're on the right path to getting their manifestation. Now, as there is always movement, this is something that implies that if you are doing the work, you are weaving the webs of your new reality. And an example of how this could play out in the 3D, let's say, for example, you are manifesting a pay rise at your job. Now, someone who is manifesting a pay rise and hasn't been told that they're getting a pay rise would probably assume that there's no movement and then complain about no movement. But the element of there is always movement, this could be you saying, I'm so grateful to have received a pay rise, and that's what you're focusing on over and over. And what could be happening behind the scenes is your company could have just signed a new deal with some new funder, and that new funder in 2 months' time, for example, is about to give your company £500,000 more. And as a result of receiving that money, your manager is now able to give you that pay rise. So the differences here are the first one is saying no movement, that means no pay rise, that means no movement. The second one is saying there's always movement because even though I haven't been given my pay rise yet, the pieces in the background, i.e. the funding which would then lead to my pay rise, are slowly happening. That is the element of there is always movement. And that's from a logical 3D standpoint, but then furthering that is also the idea that if you are redirecting focus to your end result and you're dwelling in that end state, you are slowly weaving the webs of that reality, and therefore you are getting the movement behind the scenes because it's slowly being built. Sorry, just give me 1 second. I hope that helps. Oh, it skipped again. Oh, I don't know why it does that. I know I say this every single time, but I don't know why it does. Oh, I'm still on top chat as well. Now I'm going to go back and see if I've missed anyone. Sorry, let me just skim through. I don't think I have so far. No, I don't think I've missed anyone. If I have missed you, then just comment it again, let me know. Um, Now I have to find where I am. Okay, so H says my natural state is that my desire is going to be here, and yes, I am ready. So it's improvement over is it possibly or not? See, that's but what next step is living in the end. Okay, so that's a good sign. Like progress is definitely a great. I know everybody wants their desire here, like right here, right now. I'm the same. I get it. But if you can look back at how you were before and how you are now, it's a very good and see the differences. That's a very good sign. So it's great to hear. And yeah, next step, living in the end, but you definitely can do it. Hopefully the worksheets from myself and other people will help. And hopefully, all the videos and content and stuff will help get you to that point where you are living quite consistently in the end. Marnie says, I'm good, thanks you. I don't know if that was to me or if that was to Nathan. So I'm going to respond for myself just in case it was for me. But yes, I'm very good. Thank you very much for asking. And I'm glad you're good too. Jade Lamb says, how can I help my friend get over her old story? She doesn't want her person back, but the separation makes her feel like everything happened was all her fault. It's taking a toll on her mental diet. So in this kind of instance, obviously you have a story based there based on what your friend would have told you and how they're kind of acting and stuff. Now you're holding that story in your mind as well by having the assumption that that's how she feels about everything. So the way that you would help your friend out in this situation is to try to change that story to say, for example, she has perfect mental health. She's completely over her the separation. All of that lot is all healed. Just kind of imply that she's perfectly fine now based on your new assumptions. And over time, that will gradually come into play, and that assumption will take over the assumption that you currently have, which is it's taking a toll on her mental health. The separation makes it feel like everything was her fault, and all those are kind of things. So try to change the way that you're perceiving her and the situation, and her and the situation will shift to match. Nathan Allen says, Marnie, great to hear. I'm pretty good. Enjoying this relaxing Sunday. Had a morning walk around the neighborhood. That's very nice. I like that. So I have a really nice. And yeah, I guess that question wasn't for me. But yeah, no, I'm glad to hear that you've had a good time, Nathan. And I like to see that the fact that you guys are all like pals in here and like talk to each other. That's quite good to see. Jocelyn says, thank you for your answer. It's super helpful. You're very welcome. Victory3002 Play says, hi, as I said in your last stream, I had a math exam. My math professor put grades on the website so I can see it. As it said, I failed, which to I'm not sure I've done everything, etc. What to think? So, as I mentioned in the last stream as well, and this is one sort of element that I think people need to try to remember as well, is that the advice generally does stay the same. So it was mentioned in the last stream, the advice very much will be the same. So my advice in the last stream was, what do you want this exam to be able to lead you to do? And then focus on that, or focus on the fact that you've got you've passed the exam, and stuff happens. God makes a way when there isn't a way. So even though from your logical standpoint you're probably thinking, well, I have to wait till next year to take the exam, or I have to do the whole course again, or something like that, God makes a way when there isn't a way. So if you just focus on either A, having the result that you want, or like sort of passing the exam, or B, having the thing that you want this result to lead you into. So you say, obviously your math exam, let's just say that math exam was to lead you into going into quantum physics. Instead of focusing on I passed my exam, focus on I have that job in quantum physics, and then that will end up coming into fruition. So even though you may have failed, there will be a bridge of events that leads you to getting the result that you want regardless, because there are literally infinite ways that things can play out, and you don't have to look into the exam as the end all be all, because it's definitely not. Like I said, God makes a way when there isn't a way. God is just the sort of Bible reference of it, but or the scripture reference of it, but you could say universe of conscious, whatever it is that you prefer to believe in, or prefer to name it. Sorry, but yeah, if you go straight to the end result, as in this math exam leads me to this thing, so I'm going to go straight to this thing, you will find yourself in a bridge of events to get you there. Theory says, "Hi Matt, I'd like to visualize my SP and me going on dates. We used to go on dates, but I can't visualize new dates. Whenever I visualize, I can only see our old dates. Is it working as manifestation?" So you can still use memories and stuff to help you manifest. Either way, they're still your subconscious mind doesn't have the conception of past, present, future. All it knows is the now, which is why me stepping into a red Lamborghini, even though I don't have it there, it doesn't know that that is something that I want to happen. It just assumes that that's what I'm doing now because it doesn't understand the imagery that I'm giving it isn't right this second. So using old memories like old dates and visualizations of old dates, as long as they're dates that imply that you're together or they're like loving and good dates, then that's absolutely fine because your subconscious mind will just take that as this is me on a date with my person, and that's what it will push out. So memories, old dates, all of that kind of stuff is perfectly fine. And apologies if you hear creaking. Nathan Allen says, "Of course, man, I embodied the state of being calm, confident, and chosen." So this is how he managed to get his new SP. So he says, "Of course, man, I embodied the state of being calm, confident, and chosen. I called this the three C's. I like that. I imagined how it felt like being in a relationship again, constantly being pursued and prioritized. I went on several dates with this person. We met through Bumble, and he finally popped the question and asked to be my boyfriend. And before it was usually me asking in the past, so I'm very happy." That's honestly awesome. I'm really happy to hear that, and it sounds like you had quite a good little process leading you there. So that's really good to hear, and thank you for sharing that with everyone else. And I do like the three C's. I think that's really that's important. The three C's: the calm, confident, and chosen, because you get what you are, not what you want. So if you are confident, you are calm, you are chosen, you'll be given experiences in your reality to prove those things to you. Siddharth, apologies if I said that wrong, says, "Hi Matt, can you forget how to manifest? I feel like I was at the top of my game a couple of years ago, fell off, and now getting back to being a master manifester." So you can't forget how to manifest, considering you never really knew in the first place. As in, we've been manifesting even before we were consciously aware. So if you could do it perfectly fine then, you can do it perfectly fine now. You can't really forget to manifest. What you can forget to do is forget to remind yourself that you need to stay disciplined. You can forget to remind yourself that you need to dwell in the end result, and sometimes things uh, will happen, and you need to sort of look past them in the best way that you possibly can. You can sometimes forget the little things that you need to do to benefit your process, but you won't forget how to manifest. It's kind of that um, my focus needs to go on the end result, and that's all it needs to do in order to create, and anything less than that is basically me focusing on the wrong thing. So I suppose to an extent, based on what I said, yes, I suppose you can forget how to manifest the most effective way, I suppose, because you'll probably forget that over time, like I said, discipline and all those kind of things. So you can't forget how to manifest, but you can probably forget how to manifest in the way that works absolutely best for you. I suppose that would probably be the best answer for you. But hopefully you get back on top of being a master manifester, because it definitely will be fun. Marnie says, "Matt, since not being replied to, I'm not joking. 7 men from my past have texted me today trying to take me out, saying they miss me. It's crazy. I really think SP will regret this, and I love it." So that's good. I'm glad to hear that, because it's one of those things that when you, obviously, I don't want to say too much because this is your personal story, but when you take that step back when it is required, you're giving yourself that self love. You're saying that I deserve more than whatever is playing out for me. And when you operate from that perspective, you are given experiences to prove that. So if you're saying, I'm not dealing with person one because of, I don't feel like a priority, I'm going to prioritize myself by taking that step back. You're now feeding yourself the idea that you are the priority. And as a result, you must get experiences to prove to you that you are the priority, i.e., other people showing up for you in that way. And yeah, your specific person is going to come chasing soon. uh, Victory 302 plays says, "What do you think about my exam results? I felt extremely sad yesterday because even my parents criticized me. I tried not to think about it. I wrote an email to my professor to see my exam." So what do I think about your results? I don't think your results are the end result. I don't think your end results are the end all be all. I definitely think you can still get whatever it is that you want these results to get you to without. So, for example, my job before going fully self-employed was in HR. In the UK, to get into HR, you pretty much do need some kind of special qualification, not really a degree, but you need something more than just an average like grade in school, for example. Um, all I focused on was the idea of having the wage that I wanted to have, and I found myself one place to another, finding myself in an HR role, even though I wasn't qualified to do so, and all that lot. So I know that's not exactly the same situation as what you're dealing with, but in this situation, you're focusing on the fact that you didn't get the result that you want. Is the end result what you actually want? Probably not. Like you're not going to go and do a math exam to get a B to never use it, more than likely, or at least not to an extent where it makes you feel so negative when you don't get the result that you want, which which must mean that you have this result that you're going to hope to lead you towards some sort of role, some sort of job or something like that, or even a further education or something. Now, if there is a further education that you want to focus on, a further job that you want to focus on already having that, and you will still find your way there with or without this a qualification. I am experienced of not having a qualification that I needed to get a job and still getting the job anyway. So in terms of how you feel, just remember that this isn't the end all be all. Yes, it may suck. Yes, hearing your parents criticize you might suck and everything like that. But if this was just a stepping stone to get you to a bigger place, focus on that bigger place and you'll still get there. And will they still be disappointed? Who knows? But who cares? Because if you still get to where it is that you want to be as the operant power of your reality, why would you let somebody else's words be the thing that stops you from chasing your dream? Mighty Phoenix says, I feel like I needed this to happen to remember who I am and remember my inner lioness. I feel so happy, different to last week. That's really good to hear. I'm glad to hear that you're pulling yourself back up a bit and you'll find that the whole world will start like crumbling to your knees now. It's just the same as Nathan's had with his 3 C's. Focuses on being calm, confident, and sorry, I've forgotten the third C. I'm going to have to go have a little look. That makes me look really bad now, doesn't it? Oh, I've lost it. Oh, shit. I can't not say it now because now I look like an idiot. Chosen, that's the third one. So yeah, just like Nathan had his 3 C's with the calm, confident, and chosen. Now he's been on a couple of dates, and now he's got that new special someone. So definitely, by treating yourself with these calm, confident, and chosen ways, you will now receive more of it. And I'm glad to hear that you're feeling real good. Nathan says, "Congrats, girl." Oh, Nathan says to Marnie, sorry, "Congrats, girl. I'm sure that's an amazing feeling to have men chasing you like that. I love the inner lioness mentality. Keep embodying that because you are a queen." I love the little friendship groups and stuff. It's really nice. And then Marnie says to Nathan, "I'm so happy for you." And then also says, "You messaged me the Sam's time. You're so cute." You messaged me. I think she meant to say same time. You're so cute. I think I don't know, but yeah, I'm glad to see that's all going on. Oh, and then Nathan says to Marnie, "Thank you. I did a lot of inner work and self love and self concept work the past year, and it truly helped me to be the man I am today. Oh, we are in sync. Thanks, cutie. Nah, that's nice. Oh, it's good." H says, "Yo, rampage time for masculine men trying to get back X while keeping ourselves on a pedestal, but also compassion for X, for SP and love. Time starts now." Yeah, so you always gotta wanna be your main priority. You always wanna be your main focus. This goes for men and women. You always wanna be your main focus and, like, being the best person that you can be in order to have the best person that you can have, you know? Like, I wouldn't sort of sit here and think of myself like the worst thing in the world if I was trying to get someone that treated me like the best thing. So, you gotta step into that best version of yourself, step into the best that you can be, and then see the other person in a situation of unconditional love and compassion, and the two things will come together and create the best life for you. But yeah, absolutely, you get on that rampage and you got this. Theory says, "Thanks, Matt. You're very welcome." Truth be told says, "Hi. So I've been doing affirmations, and I heard my affirmations in my dream, but I was still seeing opposite results in the dream as I was hearing the affirmations. Is it still a good sign?" That's actually quite an interesting thing to have played out. So I think you should see it as a good sign if you choose to see it as a good sign. I personally don't really care for dreams. I think that some dreams can be so like if dreams were constantly kind of in line with what was going on or what was in my affirmations, then sure, I would probably get more on board with them. But for example, last night I had the most crazy dream that had nothing to do with anything that I was thinking. So uh, it's one of those situations like when dreams like that happen, it kind of makes me sort of doubt the validity of dreams because you're a conscious creator, which means that you can direct your focus in the day, and whether or not a dream says one specific thing. Like for example, let's just go with a dream that I've had a while ago. I had a dream a while ago that Katie ended up getting with someone else. Now, did the dream bug me? Well, obviously, yeah, when you have dreams like that, they don't feel nice. But did it happen? No, it didn't. And then I've also had dreams when I've been like a what dream did I have? I had one a couple of weeks ago. It was really strange, but I think I owned a mansion, and then there was like four of my friends living with me, and it ended up turning into a horror dream. Something, it was some sort of survival thing. Do I own a mansion? No. Do I have four friends? No. But I got three really good friends, and then obviously all of you guys on here. But so sort of my perspective of that is that like these dreams, they come and go, and I think they're just kind of based on what you've been thinking. Now, just because the dream had opposite results, just like my dream with KT being with someone else, doesn't mean that it's going to happen as long as you don't allow it to happen. If you then focus on that dream being truth, then maybe you run the potential of it happening. But if a dream shows you opposite results, it's whatever. If your waking hours, you're focusing on those opposite results, that's when I think it's a problem. But if you want to see it as a good sign, then see it as a good sign for sure. You assign the meaning to things. Nathan Allen says, thanks so much, Matt. You have truly inspired me throughout this journey. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. You are very welcome, and I'm glad to be an inspiration. And I'm really glad to see that you got the results that you want. I remember a couple of weeks ago when I messaged you saying I really saw the glow in you from your TikTok when you were singing along to the Miley Cyrus song, or when you were like mouthing it. And then, like, you did literally seem like you were glowing then. And I can personally see the changes, the transformation over time, and that really means a lot to me. I know that we only coached for I know that we only spoke for like a sort of brief period about your situation and about helping you going further on, but seeing where you've gone from there is really good to see. And you also say, I help people and give them mindset advice, and it's an amazing feeling. Absolutely. If you have something that someone else could benefit from, whether you're a professional coach, not professional coach, do it. You know, like I'm not a professional chef, but if someone's cooking spaghetti with and not salting it, then I'm going to give them some advice. Same thing here. I managed to get successes with my manifestation. Am I a licensed therapist? No, I'm not. Have I helped people because I'm in a better position than they are, or at least in terms of my process, and I can give them some guidance? Yes, absolutely. Have I helped a lot of people? I've helped a tremendous amount of people. And so just because you may not be licensed, or just because you may not be the best person in the world, doesn't mean that you can't help someone. So that goes for everyone in here. If you guys have had some successes, or if you found something that works for you that maybe some other people could benefit from, go for it. It really doesn't matter if you are actually a coach or just someone to give some advice, because there's always going to be someone that's doing worse than you, and there's always someone that's doing better than you. So provide the advice to the people doing worse and learn as much as you can from the people doing better, and you will grow in life. There's a saying, never be the smartest person in the room. And this same sort of thing applies here. You never want to be the best person in the room with anything that you're doing, because how are you ever going to learn more to grow? Um, and that's exactly here. So I'm really glad to hear that you're giving other people advice as well on their mindsets, and hopefully you're changing lives too, Nathan. So that's awesome. I'm really glad to hear it. Never let anyone tell you that you can't do anything, or never let anyone say that you shouldn't do something just because you're not a professional at something. Obviously, like heart surgery and stuff like that, like maybe, yeah, sure, leave that to the professionals. But you know, if you have some advice that someone else could go for, don't not give it to them just because you're not a therapist. Whether they choose to take it is up to them. But if you at least give it, then you're trying to do the best for someone else, and that is giving without condition. So absolutely. Siddharth says, thank you for your answer. You're very welcome. NJ says, I'm watching videos on how to manifest, especially to manifest my SP, a specific person. I'm listening to be reminded on how to manifest, or could it be that I'm listening because I don't trust that it's finished? So if you're listening to videos, there's a couple of videos that I've done, for example, how to manifest for beginners. That one's like a very good sort of going back over the process in simple terms. And then I have my own personal manifest your X-Pack video, which a lot of people have said has been really helpful. So if you're looking for specific videos, I'd recommend you try those. As for why you're doing it, I think that's best for you. When you're putting those videos on, what state are you doing it from? Are you doing it from like oh, I don't feel so good, so I'm going to watch this video? Or are you doing it from maybe I could learn more? Maybe there could be something that could benefit my process more. Depending on where you're coming from when you're doing it will give you the answer to that question. Matt, sorry, B says, Matt, I'm waiting for my Instagram promotion and I live in the end. I just feel like I need to command it or something. I don't understand why I have issues with this simple manifestation. I think maybe that's why, if you're looking too much into it, like about the results and getting it there, if I'm assuming based on the fact that I'm pretty sure you've put comments like this, not this specific comment, but in relation to this topic quite a lot over sort of previous streams. I may be wrong there, so do obviously call me out if I've got that wrong, but I'm pretty sure you've mentioned your Instagram business or your business on Instagram in the past. Yeah, it could be potentially the outcome dependency because you need this stuff to go well and you're in a state of like, I need it to happen. You're obviously keeping it at bay more. So if you can kind of come at it with a very similar to the Nathan's three C's, the calm, confident, and chosen, be calm about the results, be confident that you're going to get them, and know that you're chosen as, the person to go for in your field, and allow it to come to you. Because and you say like, I just need to command it. If that's for like affirmations and stuff, then yeah, obviously if it helps you direct your focus to an end result, then command it. Um, but yeah, try to stop seeing it that you're having issues with this particular situation, because that's not going to benefit you whatsoever. If you're focusing on the fact you're having issues, you're existing in a reality where you're having issues, which must mean that you experience more of those issues. Alexandra Freed says, if my self concept seems generally good, could it be my assumptions about my SP that's an issue? How do you change that? All other men seem to easily commit / make time. So, yes, actually, I did a very quick short about this the other day, and I'm actually going to tell the video idea. So, I decided to start doing a video idea where I go onto other bigger YouTubers, for example, Kim Velez, Semi Ingram, Dylan James, all those kind of people, and I will find comments of people asking questions that didn't get a response. And then I'm going to do short videos every Wednesday, basically answering that question in a short video. So that's a new sort of video series that I'm going to be doing from now on. And I think it's going to really help a lot of people, and hopefully it will help grow my channel, because I'm basically going to then comment on that person's question saying, responded to this in a video, have a little look. So I think that's like a good idea for me to do. But the reason why I said that is because I've just done a comment answer video type short answering exactly that. So the person was saying that they working on self-concept. Self-concept's quite good. They get attention from other men, but the person that they want attention from, they're just saying that they just want to be friends. Very similar to what you have here in terms of you get other men seem to be easily commit and make time, but your specific person, you seem to have an issue. So yes, your self-concept will align with people that you don't have an old story with, essentially. So if you've got this assumption that someone doesn't want to commit to you, or someone's particularly difficult, having a good self-concept while still having that assumption is probably going to cause you hot and cold behavior, maybe some negative results sometimes, positive results other times, and you won't exactly get what you want. However, if you don't have an old story, i.e., this new person isn't going to treat me like that because I don't have this assumption, it's easier for your self-concept to sort of take the reins to get you there. So if you find that new people are treating you well and your old person isn't, more than likely that shows that your self-concept is at a good point. And obviously continue working on it, because you always want to be working on your self-concept, but it means that you're holding on to the old story a bit too much. Now, the way to change that is, what is the old story? Get all that out and get that clear. What is the story that you want to experience? I'm assuming like relationship and everything. Get clear on that relationship. Create that story within your mind, so whether it's affirmations, visualizations, scripting, whatever, and then continuously tell yourself on repeat that that is the story that you're experiencing. If they start to show up in the old story, redirect that focus back to the new story. Whenever you've got some time and you think about your person, redirect that focus to make sure that it's in line with the new story. And you just gradually tell yourself this new story until it eventually overtakes the story that your subconscious mind currently has. And then that's when you'll eventually have the reality that you want playing out. H says, I'm happy for all of you. Just remember, if we're doing this, it skipped. So H says, I'm happy for all of you. Just remember, if we are doing this, mind work. I think that might have been a typo. We are kings and we deserve all our desires. So I'm just going to go with what I think that means. So H says, I'm happy for all of you. Just remember, if we're doing this mind work, we are kings and we deserve all our desires, which is absolutely true. You're all kings and queens and you absolutely deserve your desires. You just got to make sure that you understand that you're deserving of those desires. Thank you for the kind words on that, H. I hope other people take that to heart. Sid Half says, I have multiple SPs chasing me, but I do have one specific SP who I really like, and somehow she shows up on memories or suggestions or conversations with a friend. It never really works out with other SPs. Is it for a reason? Is to infinite. Okay, I'll answer that stuff. Okay, so having the multiple SPs and it never really working out with the main one, very similar to what I just said to Alexandra, is it may be the sort of self-concept, and when you have these new people, you don't have that old story, so it's not kind of getting in your way. But with the main SP, you have that old story that just doesn't seem to work out. And oh, hang on, no, you said it doesn't really work out with the other SPs. Is it for a reason? Okay, so it could potentially be in this kind of instance, and correct me if I'm wrong, so obviously I'm just going to make an assumption here, is because you keep going back to that other person in your mind and you're wanting them, you're sort of somewhat getting in your way with these new people. And as a result, that's created the assumption that it doesn't really work out with them, and now you're abiding by that assumption. So correct me if I'm wrong there, but that could potentially be it. It's the fact that you want this new person, so you're not thinking about the others in a way that is beneficial to your end result. And now you have the assumption it never really works out, and that's what you're abiding by. But again, correct me if I'm wrong. And then you also say, is twin flames a thing? Because I feel that specific SP is my twin flame, though we were never together, but we were madly attracted to each other and had chemistry and understanding like crazy. So I believe all of that stuff, soulmates, twin flames, what are the other ones? None of the others are coming to mind right now. But all of those kind of terminologies, they're as true as you believe them to be true. I've said this in previous videos. I feel like anyone can be your soulmate if you would choose to them to be your soulmate because you assign meaning to everything. You choose your reality. Same thing with twin flames. If you think someone's a twin flame, you're a twin flame. Same thing why tarot reading, not tarot reading, sorry, star signs. People seem to fit categorically into their star sign, but that's because they have the assumption that it's true. I personally don't think I fit categorically into a Scorpio. I don't believe it to be true, and that's why I don't seem to fit into it, I suppose. Katie and I are both Scorpios. We are completely opposite people. So how can two people completely opposite be the star sign if it was valid for everyone? However, Katie will probably see things in her star sign that make a lot of sense to her because she believes them to be true. So same thing with like tarot and all that kind of stuff. So if you believe twin flames are a thing, and if you believe that you fit into a twin flame situation with this person, then you do. That's my sort of general belief on it. You assign the meaning to everything. I believe that you can be anyone's soulmate if you assign it to be the case. So by association, you should be able to assign the twin flame meaning to anyone that you meet. So yes, they're a thing if they're a thing to you. H says, Matt, I really hope that yours and Akshay collab go through. I love you. And the reason I'm hyping Akshay on your page is he makes this all very relatable by giving real life examples. Uh, yeah, so I will double check that afterwards just to make sure that I have definitely, he was definitely one of the ones that I reached out to. I vaguely remember seeing, like I said, I watched a lot of people. I vaguely remember seeing his videos, and if I saw his videos, then I probably ended up reaching out. So I think there was only a couple that I didn't, but I can't remember who they were. So I will double check that. And even for you, I might even send up a chase up email, which is pushing the 3D, but I'll do it just for you. And then you say, Matt, any input on TRT? I'm assuming by TRT you mean the enhancement drug. I'm not entirely sure why you would have why you would ask me for my input on TRT. I don't do TRT. I don't even look like I do TRT. So I haven't got an input to put on TRT. But you know what? I'm going to pretend like you're saying I look swollen enough to look like I'm on drugs. So I'm gonna take that. You're my best friend now, H. I think that's what you meant by TRT anyway. I don't know, unless there's something else in this manifestation related and I just look like an idiot. But yeah, hopefully that I haven't really got an input on it, mate. Dan Clemens says, Hey Matt, I feel less obsessed about SP. That's good. That's always a good thing to be in. I'm not visualizing or affirming as much as before, but I have a general feeling that things are happening somehow for me. It's great to be calm again. That's a very, very good place to be. So I definitely round of applause for sort of bringing back on that obsession and being in a calm place. Now that's definitely a good place to be. H says, nice video idea, Matt. Yeah, I thought so. I thought it was a way to sort of help the community because people ask these big coaches wanting help. And then when the coaches, because obviously the coaches get loads of comments. I'm not sitting here saying, oh, these coaches are bad people for not responding, but sometimes these comments get missed. But I'm more than happy to take the time to go do it. So I thought it could be a way to not only grow my channel, but also help more people. And I don't know what it's like in other coaches because I don't really like go to anybody else particularly, but I would say that from my perspective, I have a very, very solid and loyal fan base. A lot of you guys have been showing up religiously. Some of you even show up just for the sake of saying, I wanted to say hi and sort of catch up and stuff. And I think it's because I take the time to respond to every comment and do specific videos that people have requested and give free advice and that on occasion. I think that that's why I have such a solid and loyal fan base. And I think this is another way that I can help people and bring more people into our little community to sort of build up the strength. So yeah, I thought it was a good idea too. SS says, what's the difference between concept and states? So, oh, sorry, self-concept and states. So a state is, they're very, very similar. And I think this is a good question. So self-concept is generally your concept of self. I know it sounds ridiculous, but when you shift the words, it's concept of self. So that's anything involving you, anything involving your situation, anything involving the people involving your situation. You're right? Okay. Sorry. Anything involving, basically anything involving yourself within a situation. So your self-concept in regards to love, the way that you see yourself in regards to love, the way that you see relationships, all those kind of things would be self-concept. States is what you are operating within that moment. So for example, A poor person generally will more than likely, because they are poor, will have a poor self-concept. They'll have a self-concept that money is very difficult for them. Money doesn't grow on trees. Money's the root of all evil. Just things like that. They'll generally have this idea that money and them, they just don't match. They every time they get it, they lose it. That will be their self-concept, which is why generally they're sitting in a state of poverty. Now they can enter the state of being someone rich by telling themselves that they're rich and by um, operating from the mindset of someone rich. So let's say, for example, a poor person has a bill arrive. They can enter the state of being someone rich. Let's assume state to mean persona in this instance. I think it's a little bit easier if you think of it as a persona. They can enter the state slash persona of someone rich by handling that bill in the way that a rich person would, which is paying it without concern or telling themselves that it's not a worry because they have more than enough money. That's entering the state of being someone rich. Now, a state is something that you enter in and out of all of the time. You're basically constantly fluctuating states. However, generally, you will abide by whatever your self concept is until you change it. So, self concept is sort of that thing that dictates somewhat everything, and a state is more what you consciously focus on within that moment. Sort of. I hope that helps. I don't know why I said sort of at the end. That's pretty much where I end that explanation, not like a sort of. I don't know why I said it. Please ignore that. Top FJ says, talk about meditation. Fucking hell. Talk about oh god. I fucked up my words so bad I almost killed myself. Talk about meditation and how to do it. So meditation is generally the oh god, that was gross. Still a little bit ill. Kind of just like the last few days, which is why I'm still coughing a little bit. I know it's ridiculous. I've been ill for like weeks now. So meditation is generally the practice of being aware of thoughts and for basically practicing mindfulness. So the reason why you might want to do meditation is because it allows you to become familiar with having thoughts come up and letting them pass without placing any power and focus on them. It also allows you to be aware of those thoughts so that if you choose to redirect them, you have much better time to do so. And it allows you to have those thoughts come up that may be negative, because when you are meditating, you don't want to force the thoughts away. You actually want to be aware of them. Um, it allows you to have potentially negative thoughts come up without giving that power so that you don't spiral. Now, the reason why all of those things are so important is because when it comes to like your general day-to-day life, if you practice meditation and practice mindfulness, practice being able to see thoughts and letting them go or not giving power to them, you are going to have a much easier time dealing with negative thoughts and circumstances that happen in the 3D on a regular basis. Someone that's practiced mindfulness and practiced being able to let thoughts go is going to have a much easier time dealing with some negative circumstance than someone that's never really practiced mindfulness. So that's why you want to do meditation. That's why meditation is so important. I wish I could do it more. I find myself either too busy or not having the time. Obviously, as soon as the kids get home, any sort of semblance of silence is difficult to obtain. So meditation after the afternoon is basically impossible. But how to do it? So meditation is very different for everybody. The way that I think is best to do meditation generally that everyone can abide by, find somewhere quiet and comfortable, and then get in a position that's comfortable for you, somewhere that you're not going to be fidgeting. Like if you sit like upright and then you realize that I got really itchy nose. If you realize that sitting upright is going to be uncomfortable for 20 minutes. For example, let's say you're doing your meditation for 20 minutes. Maybe stack some pillows behind you so then you're like more relaxed and whatever position is more comfortable for you. And all I recommend for meditation, at least initially, is to just focus on your breathing. So in for 2, hold for 2, out for 2, and then do that sort of 5 to 10 times, and then you'll feel yourself kind of somewhat shutting down. Try to release as much of the feeling within your body. Don't feel tense. Don't like lie there stiff or sit there stiff. Just relax. Let all the tension go. And then you'll find yourself in quite like a floaty place. Maybe I might have to do the breathing for a little bit longer, but you'll obviously figure out what works for you. And then kind of lay there in a bit of like a relaxed state, and then just allow the thoughts to come up. When they come up, just focus back on your breathing, or just let the thoughts come up and pass. You haven't got to. But what I would recommend is try to be aware of the thought that you're having. When you're thinking, try not to let the thought run on a tangent. You want to practice being able to be aware, oh, I'm thinking this, instead of just letting it be a thought that just trains through. Oh, I'm thinking this. And then basically do that until you feel in a good place, and then come out of the meditation. Some people like guided ones, some people like music, some people like sitting, some people like laying. It's whatever is comfortable for you. If we could stop the comments as well now, because I think my dinner is almost ready. So I'm just going to get through these and then head off. Emma says, I keep having thoughts about previous SPs rejecting me and having a hard time letting go of old story of not being chosen. How do I let go of this? I worry this will happen again sometimes. So the old stories will be there pretty much until you work through them. So what I recommend if you're having struggles with them is you can either revise them or work out why they're still worrying you. You were rejected in the past, sure. Let's say, for example, you were rejected because you, I don't know, you had red hair and people didn't like the red hair, and now you're blonde and you're still worried about people rejecting you because you have red hair. If you've now got blonde hair, that's obviously kind of like a silly thing to be worried about. So if you're still worried that you're going to get rejected back like you did back then, that would more than often show that you still have an element of yourself that feels the same as you did back then. So some part of yourself is still feeling in connection with that old version of yourself that was rejected. So look deeper into why you were rejected and what that made you feel, and then start working at the baseline. So start to flip those thoughts, start to tell yourself a new story about the thing that you were rejected about and about how it made you feel to create those new assumptions, and then continue to persist in that. And obviously, you won't have to abide by that again. And that's the best way that I can advise to let go. Or letting go is obviously simply just not allowing it to take control over you anymore. And that's kind of a way to stop it from taking control of you over more, is to find the root cause, work on the root cause, and tackle it. Like, for example, if you're cutting weeds, if you cut off the top, they're just going to regrow back. If you pull out the root, they're not going to grow back. It's a very similar thing. If you keep just telling yourself, I'm chosen, yes, you might get results in line with that. But if you don't work on the root cause of why you never felt chosen in the first place, you may end up having situations where those feelings boil up again, and then you kind of have to fight them again. H says, Yo, Siddharth, this is your safe space, buddy. Never say sorry. Oh, did someone say sorry? Oh, I just skipped a whole bunch of people. Oh, hang on. Oh, I've just answered Emma's next question instead of her first one. That's why I got confused. Okay, so I'm going to go back because I missed people. So Emma's first question is, manifesting that convo goes well with SP. How long should I affirm before the convo? I had negative thoughts before and want to make sure those don't manifest. Affirm until it comes into fruition. There's no point, unless you feel like you're at a point where you absolutely don't want to do it anymore, just continue to affirm and it will end up coming until it comes into fruition. This is why Neville said, persist until it hardens into fact. You keep going until it becomes your reality. Top FJ says, when manifesting self-concept, should I stay in the wish fulfilled all day? Stay in it as much as you can without feeling like you're burning yourself out, basically. You know, this is your new version of yourself. You're going to want to try and stay in this as much as you can so that that becomes a natural new version of yourself. Siddharth says, thank you so much and sorry for the long question. No, you're absolutely fine, mate. This, just like H says, this is your safe space. You're here to ask questions. So by all means, ask away. Obviously, if any of you ever need any deeper coaching, we absolutely can. My services are in the description and we will go into a lot deeper detail on everything that you need help with. But by all means, ask away. Hey, You're Beautiful says, from your most recent shorts, you talked about letting go of anger and resentment. Can you elaborate more on how to do that? Yes. So there's a lot to it. So I'm going to give you kind of more of a brief overview. And I probably will make a full video on this in the future. But if you need more for now, I do have a worksheet that is currently on my website that you can go and obtain. But resentment often stems from perception that you have on a situation where you were not given the opportunity to get out the words, the thoughts, the feelings that you needed to. So quite often there'll be a situation that happens, makes you feel a certain way through cowardice or unfair dealings. You may end up hurt. So it could be that the person was too cowardly to hear you out, or you were too cowardly to confront them in the first place. This is very general and simplified. There's obviously a lot more that goes into it. The worksheet does go into a lot more detail. So if you need more help, go into that. But generally, it will be your perception of the events that have created this outcome for you. And resentment is basically like drinking poison and hoping the other person dies. You have a situation where you were felt wronged and you hold on to all this hatred, this resentment, this anger, because you want them to be wronged or feel as though they've been wronged in the same way that you were. So resentment often stems just from your perception of events. So one way to let go of resentment is to simply let go of the entire situation. Remember and remind yourself that by holding on to resentment of what's been done, you are not doing anything to hurt them. You are not doing anything to get back at them, and you're definitely not doing anything to benefit you. Like I said, resentment is like drinking poison and hoping the other person dies. You can even go further with this to say that, and even if they do die, you are still poisoned. So the best thing that I recommend for resentment, and I know it probably sounds a bit like annoying to hear, is to simply let it go. Remind yourself that you're not hurting them. They don't care. at least the version of them that you're dealing with right now probably doesn't, which is why you feel that resentment. You're not hurting them, they don't care, and you're only hurting yourself, and you're only holding yourself in that past situation and creating a version out of it based on the perceptions that you have. So, so the first thing that you can do is to simply just let go of it. The second thing to do is to practice something called metta, which again I mentioned in the worksheet, which is a Buddhist practice of basically seeing everything from a place of unconditional love, all beings, everything from a place of unconditional love. If you can see everything from a place of unconditional love and continue to do so, even those that hurt you, if you can send them love, even though they've hurt you, if you can send them love, even though they've made your life difficult and you hold resentment for them, you will gradually create these sort of not neurotypical, I can't remember the word for it. Basically, these new thought patterns to basically see things in a more loving light. And over time, you will dwindle away the resentment because you are no longer seeing things from a place of resentment. So that is a very simplified thing because this is an entire 25-minute long video topic in and of itself. So hopefully that helps, gives you some ideas. The worksheet is on my website if you want that, and I may do a video on this in the future. Carolina says, hey, howdy, Caroline. Glad to have you here. Oh, sorry, Carolina. Apologies. I'm glad to have you here. H says, I'm thinking about it. Just side effects on hair freak me out. It's up to you, buddy. I don't take TRT. I don't take anything at all. So I don't even at the moment take creatine. I have done in the past, but that's not obviously an illegal substance. So I don't do anything. But it's up to you, mate. I feel like you could probably rock the bald look though. And then I answered Emma's next question because I ended up skipping through by accident. And then H says, yo, Siddharth, this is your safe space, buddy. Never say sorry. And then H also says, I'm going to have a collab with Matt soon discussing my success story. I look forward to that collab. Absolutely hit me up for that. Siddharth says, thanks, H. Good to find a community where I can say I feel and not be written off as crazy. Say how I feel and not be written off as crazy. Absolutely. You're all safe to say whatever you want here. The only things that ever will happen is if you go after anybody else in the community, I will call it out and I will tell you to stop. And if I do feel like maybe you do need to take a step back, or if you are a bit obsessed, I will say so. But you are not in the wrong for saying the things that make that come across. It's more just a place of advice. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say, you're obsessed, you need to sort yourself. I'll sort of say, hey, maybe the way that you're coming across here might not be the best way for you. Maybe pull that back. Other than that, say whatever you feel is necessary. And yeah, just be kind to others. And yeah. H says, no, you are valuable. Now do 100 push-ups and 100 body weight squat. Yes, go do that now. That's really funny. H is his little personal trainer in the chat. Carolina says, off topic, but are you watching the Tommy Fury fight tonight? I am not. I don't actually watch fighting as much as I'd like to. I just don't really watch much TV. I only really watch TV with dinner. And when it's not with dinner, I don't sort of schedule times to watch stuff. Like, I'd really like to watch the All-Star game for NBA a lot more than I do, but I just don't because I don't schedule it in. But in the next stream, let me know how it goes. Siddharth says 100 push-ups and 100 squats I do in my sleep. Give me a challenge. Come on. And then H says, your team's performance is horrible, Matt, after spending all that money. Oh, don't bully me. I'm assuming you're on about the Knicks and the recent trades. Please don't hurt my feelings. But I like Siddharth's response. H, he's kind of called you out there. Victory says, I don't know what to ask. I've manifested the SP, at least for now. That depends on some results in the 3D. I'd like to ask how to change appearance, traits, qualities, etc. How to change myself for the better. Okay, so I don't know what to ask. Okay, so I'm going to go with the question straight away. Get clear what you want. So if you want to change qualities, traits, physique, whatever it is, get clear on what it is that you want to create, and then start telling yourself that you're already that, and then put in the work to get there. If it's like to gain muscle, understand what kind of your physique is, maybe even create a vision board. By the way, if any of you want any custom vision boards, they're down below in the description for my website as well. They're really good. But yeah, create like a vision board, get an idea of like what you want to like look like, and then tell yourself that's what I look like. That's what I look like. Put in the work to get there. If it's like certain traits as in personality traits, understand what it is that you want to have. If you want to be calm and confident and collected and be able to like look someone in the eyes when you're talking, start telling yourself that you're already doing that, and then step into the state of doing that and try to practice it as much as you can. H says, good Sabbath. Sorry, Siddharth. Apologies, I said that wrong. For me, it is still a challenge. Not long ago, actually, I removed it now, but I did a video where I did 500 push-ups in an hour. Was it 500? I think it was. Katie, it was 500 push-ups I did in an hour, wasn't it? Was that the video? Yeah, 500 push-ups in an hour. That was tough.
Actually, he did about 600 realized the filming when he first started wasn't angled right, so he did another 100, all within the hour. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was quite tough. Carolina says, do you think breaking certain habits could be the thing that brings you towards your manifestation because you're becoming someone new with new habits, even if they don't seem related? I think in a lot of instances that could actually be quite valid. It helps you at least think from a new perspective, sort of stepping out of that old state of yourself. And I know a lot of people say that it's good to go for a walk before you start trying to plan stuff because you'll have a new perspective because you've kind of got out of your environment. So yeah, absolutely. I can't see why. I'm not going to sit there and say that if you start brushing your teeth like in the midday as well as morning and night that you're going to get your specific person, but it could potentially be that breaking new like stepping into new habits might help you step into a new version of yourself a bit easier. H says, Carolina, I suggest Joe Dispenza's breaking the habit of being yourself. Siddharth says, I can help you out with a routine if you like. I lost 30 kilos this past year. That's really good. Congratulations. And eat however I want and still keep my six-pack. I just had 2 cups of strawberry pudding. Oh, you might need to help me, my guy. Carolina says, for example, quitting vaping and taking care of myself like skincare and overall looks could potentially bring my full SP manifestation because I'm showing myself love even though they don't seem related. That I would agree with, yes. If you start treating yourself better and loving yourself, i.e. stopping the drinking, vaping, smoking. I know you didn't say smoking and vaping there, but they're just things that popped into my head as I was saying it. They are all things of like self-love. So yes, in my opinion, that would help you, because I now love myself enough to quit smoking, to quit drinking, to quit vaping, to start doing a skincare routine. And as a result, you must get things to prove how much you love yourself, if that makes sense. Carolina says, thanks, H. I'll look into it. H, there's so many people talking to each other. I keep saying the wrong names. H says, Siddharth 30 kilos is remarkable. It actually is. Congratulations on that. And then Katie said, no more comments, please. And then H said, yo, Katie, we miss your monologue. That's going to make her feel good. And then Katie said, hey, sorry, I've been unwell today. Poor Matt has had to look after me all day. It's fine, but that's what I'm here to do. H says, Katie, it is very heartening to see how you both support each other. You guys give us visuals of couple goals without SP, especially for men aspiring a supportive woman. Much respect. I'm glad to know that our relationship is something you guys quite like to see to sort of help boost your confidence in your manifestations. That's good to hear. I think I just worded that terribly, but you know what I meant with it. Katie said, thanks. He is most definitely my rock. I'm not going to say anything soppy because I don't do soppy. Victory says, hope you get better. Thank you for the kind words. Katie said, thank you. H says, Matt, your team, Chelsea. Oh, you meant football. I thought you meant New York Knicks for basketball. I'm actually surprised you remember that I like Chelsea, but I actually don't follow football. I support Chelsea, but I don't really follow football. I know more of basketball than I do of football, but I'll have to have a little look-see to see what you're talking about afterwards. But Chelsea, I'm pretty sure Chelsea haven't done very well for a while. That might be wrong because, again, I don't follow it, but I'm pretty sure I've not heard anyone celebrating Chelsea for a while. Victory says, I'm sorry, but last question. On which days, in what time do you go live Q&A? Most of the time I see the notification in the middle/end of the stream. So this one is a bit hit and miss, and I do apologize. I prefer to do Saturdays at 7:15 p.m. UK time. However, because I have a second business, as well as a band, as well as obviously like Katie and I do stuff in the evenings, I can't always commit to that. So if I don't do it at 7:15 on a Saturday, I'll do my absolute best to do it at 7:15 on a Sunday, UK time. So if you see that I'm not live at 7:15 UK time on the Saturday, it will be the Sunday at that time as best I can. Siddharth says, good talking with you. H and Matt, good talking to you too. Thank you for showing up. Carolina says, thank you. I've made a list tonight of all the bad habits I need to stop to step into a new version of myself, and I'm going to be disciplined as I feel everything else is on track. That's awesome. Hopefully next live stream, you'll be able to let us know how that's gone for you, and hopefully you'll have some successes with it too. So yeah, keep us updated. And H says, much love to you all. Much love to you too, H. Thank you for showing up and showing the support. So again, if any of you are in need of any of my help in any kind of way, vision boards, affirmation tapes, worksheets, one-on-one coaching, check the links down below in the description. Katie's personalized tarot readings are also down there, and they've got really great reviews too. Any video topic ideas, let me know down below. And if you do have feedback on the intro of my money video that I did recently, I'd love to hear it because I liked doing it, but I'm not going to do it if you guys didn't like it. So let me know of that. And Carolina says, do you put up anything on Insta or YouTube before you go live, by the way? No. No, I don't. And I really need to start doing it. So I will start, as of next live stream, I will start doing something. But hopefully what I said will help you. I don't expect you to remember when I go live, but hopefully it'll kind of remind you. But yeah, I'll try to remember to put something up. But yeah, if you do need any of my help, check down below. Any feedback, check down below, or let me know in comment section. And yeah, thank you very much, everybody, for showing up to the stream. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your days, evenings, mornings, nights, sleeps, whatever it is that you're going to go do after this live stream. And I'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.